Today your job is to experiment with some of the different effects that you can get from working with gelatin plates. Once you pull your plate out of the container, the first thing that you're going to want to do is make a stack of colored backgrounds. Usually light colors or bright colors are a good safe place to start. You only need a very thin layer of paint, and once you get your plate covered with color, you're going to pull your first print, just put it down and rub it in circles, pull that off, and then try to get into the habit of always pulling two ghost prints. The ghost print is the paint that's left on your plate after you pull your first print. One thing that you can do with any of these prints is use the brayer to help rub the plate, and what that's going to do is it's going to help to clean off the extra paint on your brayer. So remember, every time you print, you're going to pull your first print, you're going to pull two ghost prints, and somewhere in there you're going to use the brayer on the back of your paper to help clean off that extra paint. If you're using the right amount of paint, your second ghost print really shouldn't have much left on it at all. It's just an easy way to clean off the plate so that you're ready for the next print. Once you have a stack of about 12 or so backgrounds, you're going to be ready for the fun part. Now remember, today is about experimenting. So one place where you can try to experiment is with adding textures. I'm going to roll up a little bit of paint on my plate here, but notice I only put paint on one side. That's because I wanted to use the bubble wrap to lift the paint from one side and actually press some paint on the other side. Now you're going to see what happens when I pull the print, that some of the bubbles removed paint and some of the bubbles were used to add paint. Don't forget those ghost prints, and don't forget to clean off your brayer from time to time. Now in terms of texture, just about anything you can press gently onto the plate you can use to add texture. One thing I really love is doilies. They already have really beautiful shapes cut out of them. This is a little piece of shelf liner I found in the back of my kitchen closet. You could ball up some fabric scraps. You could take the bottom of your sneaker and gently press it onto that plate, and it will leave an impression and make a print. Basically, you just want to stay away from things that are sharp that might ruin the plate, and stay away from things that you are worried about ruining. Your favorite shirt might not be the best idea for an experiment. So this time I'm rolling paint only on half the plate again because I want to show you what you can do with rubber stamps. I'm going to pull up some paint from one side of the plate and stick it back down on the other side of the plate. That little stamp with the numbers was just made out of some fun foam shapes that were glued down to a piece of cardboard. Clean off the brayer, pull your print. Pretty cool, huh? So this time I'm going to roll out a nice thin layer of paint again. And I'm going to show you, you can make your own texture combs. This is just a piece of fun foam that I cut with some zigzag scissors, and I'm going to pull some of the paint off that way. And something that's always kind of fun is toys. So my Matchbox car is going for a drive in the paint, and it makes some cool wavy lines. And then put down your paper, clean off your brayer, pull your print, and check it out. Q-tips work really well because they're soft, they're not going to damage the plate. You can also use the side of that comb that I made out of fun foam as another great thing because again, it's soft, it's not going to scrape into the gelatin and ruin the plate, it's just removing some of the paint for you. Another thing you're going to want to experiment with is stencils. I put the stencil down on the plate and I'm just using the foam brush to gently dab some paint into some of the holes. And you'll see what happens. The first print, you're going to see some of that paint that I dabbed. It's not going to be necessarily clean, but look what happens when you remove the stencil. You see how the stencil pulled all of that paint off the gelatin? And so now when I print my ghost print, it's actually going to be the positive image. It's going to look just like the shapes in the stencil did. Now the recycle bin is an excellent place to look for materials for gelatin prints. That yellow card was actually left over from a new board game. Corrugated cardboard makes really great textures. I am going to pull my first print, remove the stencil, and often with this process, the ghost prints are really some of my favorites. Don't forget to clean that brayer. Now I'm going to let you in on a little secret, that the place where I go to find stencils the most often is my own backyard. I love what happens when you use a leaf with a gelatin plate. Just for fun on this one, I'm adding a piece of yarn to show you what happens, and I'm going to use a little bit of a bubble texture in the background. But basically what happens is the first print is going to show you the negative shape. This really happens with any stencil that you're using. So I'm going to pull that print and you can see that nice shape of the leaf. Now I'm not ready for my second print because there's still a lot of paint on my plate. So one thing that you can do is use a little newspaper to try to lift up that extra paint, and now you can see how clear that gelatin is. So when I pull off the yarn and I pull off the leaf, I now have the positive image. I'm going to clean my brayer on the back of my paper, and there is the positive and the negative leaf side by side. I just love that combination. Now, of course, some of the best images are going to happen when you make the stencils yourself. So just take one of your pieces of paper, fold it in half, cut a shape out of the middle, and see what you can do. I've made my little house here, and I could just roll the brayer with ink or paint over the top of it, but I think I'm going to dab it with this foam brush because I don't want it all to be the same color. I've got a little kind of a light blue on the bottom of the house, and then I'm going to use the Q-tip to do the roof just because the Q-tip was clean and it was sitting right next to me. So now when I pull that stencil away, you can see that the only paint on the plate is just that little house that I wanted. So I'm going to pick out a nice background for it, use the brayer to help me transfer the paint, and that's about it. So now it's your turn. You are going to start by making a pile of backgrounds. You're going to play with textures. You're going to play with stencils. You're going to remember to make your ghost prints and clean off that brayer every couple of prints. Now go make something beautiful.